Chef Keith. Welcome back to Cooking with Keith. Today we're going to be doing a paella mixta, and it's going to be a fantastic dish. With my Spanish friends, they've showed me a few tricks that I'm going to incorporate into making our paella mixta today. So please make sure and watch to the end so you can see the tricks and techniques that I've actually picked up in Spain. It'll really make the dish stand out. It won't be a traditional Valencian style, which is sometimes done with rabbits or snails and along with chicken, and some special green beans from Spain. They're hard to find in the United States, so we're in Texas, so we're going to do our dish based on what's locally available, but with the Spanish flair and traditional Spanish ingredients that we can get, such as our pimenton and our Spanish saffron that I picked up in my last trip to Madrid. And then we're going to be using some chorizo de bellota, which is acorn-fed pork turned into chorizo, and it's a lovely, lovely chorizo. Gives a lot of flavor to the dish. I would highly recommend looking for this over just a regular chorizo made of grain-fed pork. Using tomato and green and red bell pepper for the sofrito. We're going to be sauteing that off with a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to add our calasmara rice later, which is from southeast Spain on the Mediterranean, from Murcia region. And then we have our chicken thighs, organic chicken thighs, and some whole Gulf shrimp, which will look lovely today. We get them whole. We're going to cook them in the shell so they give a maximum flavor to the dish. And paella, to me, with the shellfish, it's more of like a finger food and spoon food, because you peel these and it's part of the fun. And then you open up your clams and mussels, and it's just a lot of fun. So let's get started. We have our broth simmering here, and we've used the chicken thighs, the bones from the chicken thighs, as well as some shrimp bodies. And so we're going to strain that. And then we're going to just dump the contents in the trash. And we'll simply re-pour this broth back in. And now is when we're going to add our pimenton. So this way you put it in here, it's going to get all throughout every crevice, every section of the paella when you're cooking the dish. So we're going to put about a tablespoon in here right now, and we'll sprinkle some over later for effect and for added flavor towards the end. We're going to put a little salt, a couple of pinches of salt. And now we're going to do our saffron. So this is saffron that I picked up in Madrid at a market, local market near our apartment that my wife and I own. And we're going to do a little trick here where we take a good pinch of it, and we're going to put it on just a simple piece of paper. And we're going to fold this over, and we'll simply run the back of a knife back and forth over it. And we'll turn it over this way and do it a different way. What that does is it helps pulverize it. So it turns most of it into a powder, and that's going to give it a lot more of a bright color when it comes into the contact with the liquid. So we're going to go ahead and pour this in. And a little goes a long way. This is actually a very powerful ingredient and very subtle, but also very pervasive. It has a delicious flavor in the rice. Like rice and saffron were made for each other, so this is a great broth right now already. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, it's coming together very nicely. And one other trick, instead of dicing garlic and throwing it throughout and hoping it flavors everything well, we're going to actually grate it into a fine paste with a microplane. And we're going to tip it in there into the broth, so you'll have this really deeply flavored broth for the paella. That's a rather large garlic clove. It's not, you don't have such a large garlic clove. You could use 2 or 3 smaller cloves. And we'll put all that in, and we'll stir around again. And it's nice and hot. It's been simmering, so we can actually turn the fire off and move it to the side. And we'll use it when we start making our paella in the pan. And we'll do that right now by putting the paella pan on. We'll put it on low right now. And we'll prepare our sofrito. So we're going to do a diced tomato. And I'm preparing enough for about 2 people, so we don't need a huge amount of vegetables. I'm going to chop about a half a tomato. They don't have to be finely diced, the vegetables, just they'll break down in the pan. And we'll have these, we'll have about a half of a red pepper. We'll just take the sides off without the ribs. Another good section of the green. And we'll simply dice these also to medium dice. And there we go. And now we'll turn it down to really low, and we'll get our olive oil in here. And we will start the sofrito. I'm going to just kind of move it over here so I can unload. We're simply going to stir this around. Put a little salt on it. And now we'll dice our chorizo. Just a couple of nice slices. And we'll turn those into cubes. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move the vegetables over to one side. And we're going to put the chorizo in on this side so it can start rendering. And what I like about this chorizo is the acorn-fed pork that goes into making this chorizo is such a superior product that and with the pimenton that they use in making the sausage, it really has a deep flavor, and also garlic they have in the sausage, so it has a wonderful flavor. And it's more pronounced than like a grain-fed, than a chorizo from a grain-fed pork. This is actually much deeper flavor. It's 3 times as expensive, but you get what you pay for, in my opinion. So we're going to lightly salt our chicken thigh meat, and we're going to place this skin side down. Right alongside the chorizo. So we have that working. It's going beautifully well so far. You see the bright colors of the vegetables. And I'm going to wash my hands with the chicken. Wash my hands with the chicken. Kind of a jokester, am I? So this is getting nice and soft now. And one important note, we're going to wait until the end to put our shellfish and our shrimp because we don't want them to overcook. So right now we're just splitting off the sofrito and getting the chorizo going and then the chicken thigh going. And then we'll add our rice and white wine, then our broth, and then we'll actually get it all going. And then towards the end of the cooking time, we'll finally add our shellfish and our shrimp so that they don't overcook again. Many people throw it in at the beginning. By the time the paella is done, the shrimp are tough and so are the clams and mussels in that case. So now we're going to actually take the chicken thighs off. Even though they're not completely cooked, we're going to cook them through the process. But we wanted to brown off the skin part. And we can leave the chorizo in. And we'll stir it around with the sofrito. And we'll get that fire back on. And we'll simply put our cauliflower rice. I have about 2/3 of a cup, which is great for 2 people. So I'm going to sprinkle that around. There we we go. And we're going to add just a little bit of wine. I have some dry Spanish wine from Galicia. So this is a wonderful Albarino grape wine, Albarino from Galicia. So we're going to use a little bit of this in the rice. And we'll stir it around. And that's going very well. We're going to let that wine just evaporate a little bit on high heat, and then we'll add a lot of our broth. We're going to cover the broth up to this little level on the paella pan. They come pretty standard. So we're going to fill it up to there and leave it on high heat so it can boil down. And that will really get the rice well cooked. And this isn't a risotto, so you don't want to add little by little by little. You just throw it all in at once and let the fire do its job. So we're there now. Most of the wine is evaporated. I don't want it to get too dry, so I'm going to go ahead and fill up to that level where the rivets are. And there we are. We're going to leave it on high, and it's going to actually do its job, the heat. In about 10 minutes, this will be really at the stage where we're going to add our shellfish. We're going to add the clams first because they take the longest. Then we're going to add about 5 minutes later, we're going to add the mussels and the shrimp. And then a little trick I have, because I know that not everyone at home has a huge barbecue setup or a flame setup like they have in Valencia. So we have a way, instead of putting this in an oven or putting it on top of a huge flame like it's traditional in Valencia, we're going to take a second paella pan and cover it while it finishes. And that'll be a nice little trick. And we'll put our chicken back also in about 5 minutes. So you notice I didn't put onion in the sofrito, which is traditional. I put the peppers and I put the chorizo. What I like to do is, I love onions so much, I'm going to do a nice thin shaving of the onions. And I'm going to place these all over the top while it cooks. This is not traditional, but it's like my little trick to make it taste very flavorful and have the onions right on the top. You can try this and see if it makes a difference for you. I really like it like this. I like having the strands of onions laying over the top when you dig into all the goodies. There we are. And now we just wait another 8 or so minutes and we'll add all of our seafood. So while we're waiting on the broth to reduce, I'm going to show you a wine that I'm having with this. Benito Santos. This is the wine from Rías Baixas in the Galician region of Spain, and it's Albarino and 2022 vintage. And it's I'm tasting it's a fantastic wine. It's almost got it's dry, but it's got like an apricot kernel core, and I think it's going to be delicious with the paella. You can have a red wine or a rosé too, but I think that for today I'm cooking with this. I'm going to have this wine with the paella. I think it's a great combination. And Rías Baixas wines from Galicia are always innovating, and they're coming up with great winemaking techniques every year. And I just love the region, and I love the white wine of the Albarino grape. It's really a lovely, food-friendly wine too. So now that we've been waiting about 10 minutes for the broth to reduce, you can see it's getting thick and reduced, and we're not turning it. We're not stirring it because we want to create a crust on the bottom. So we're going to actually put our chicken thighs back in. We'll put them skin side up this time, and we'll let the bottom of the chicken get done. All the juices are accumulated there. And now we'll put our shrimp. We'll kind of put them around in an attractive way. And if you had, some people prefer the shrimp to be shelled first. And if you do, I would even wait longer because they'll cook really fast without the shell and the head. So this kind of gives them a little bit of protection, this shell. And plus, I really believe that the shell adds a lot of flavor. So it's one of those things, if you can just have fun breaking it apart later when you're eating, you'll have a lot more flavor in the paella. So now we're going to put our clams in because they take longer than the mussels. The mussels, you'll see, I'm probably going to put in the last 2 minutes because they pop open really quickly. And we're going to put these around, these nice clams. Put one right in the center. And we're going to put a little bit of green peas. If you don't like peas, you don't have to put them in, but it's kind of a nice component and adds a nice bit of color to the dish. So we're putting about 2 ounces. Put that in. And we'll start chopping some parsley because we're going to garnish with parsley and lemon and a little bit more of the pimenton. So we're just going to, finely chop the parsley. Doesn't have to be super fine, as this is not a precise dish. This is more of a fun dish, and you really just want that parsley flavor. It's very important, I think, to have the parsley. And now it's getting down. You can see it's getting thicker. I'm going to test the bottom just to move it around. I'm not really stirring, but I can see that it's starting to stick, which is a good sign. And it's I'm going to take a little of the rice just to test where it's at. I think it's about 3 to 4 more minutes. It's with perfect timing. So now, one of the tricks I do at home is we will turn this over on this pan. It's the same size, and we'll let it simmer. That'll help the top of the shrimp get to be cooked without stirring or putting it in a big, having to have a big oven on it. So we'll go 2 minutes now, and then we'll take it off, put the mussels, and 1 more minute of cooking. It should be just about done. So now this has been about 2 minutes. We're going to take this top paella pan off and inspect this. You can see that the shrimp is just about cooked. So now it's time. We're coming to the final conclusion here. We're going to put our mussels in. I'm using about 9 or 10 mussels, good for about 2 people. And what we're doing, we're having a crust form on the bottom. I can feel it. It's called the sofrito. It's the crust that forms on the bottom layer of rice, and it's a desired component of a paella. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up by putting the lid back on and letting the mussels open. Then we'll simply just test it 1 more time and make sure it's ready, and then we'll do our garnishes. So right now we'll cut some lemon, and we'll get ready for the final result here. And here we go. I think this will be ready now. We'll take this off. All the mussels have opened nicely. And I'm going to test that rice 1 more time by just kind of gently pressing in the bottom of the pan to see where it's at. Yes, it's developing that sofrito, which is a good sign. And we're really just about done, I think. We're going to turn off the fire now and let it sit. And I'm going to garnish with parsley, a good amount of parsley. And we'll put our lemons around. And lastly, a sprinkle of this wonderful pimenton. We're going to put that all over. Put on the lemons, put it everywhere. It's delicious. And now we'll give it a try. I always like to let it rest about a minute or 2 before I try it. But we're going to go ahead and do that and let it rest for 2 minutes, and then we'll give it a try. So now we'll give it a taste. Take a little bit of the rice from the bottom. And we'll give it a go. Perfectly textured rice. The sofrito on the bottom, the crust developed really well. And I can really taste that saffron and pimenton through the rice dish. It's a delicious, flavorful dish. So we're going to try it again. I actually like the peas in it. The peas barely give it a good texture. And we'll try the mussels. I'll try another one. Those are very tender because we put them in towards the very end, so they didn't have to get a chance to toughen up. They're nice and succulent and really delicious. Very tender. We'll try a clam. Yeah, this is finger food at this point, so really good. The shrimp. You just peel those, have a little fun with that. Oh, one thing I think it's missing is squeeze a little lemon all over the whole thing. It's a nice flavor component as well. Try that shrimp. Delicious. Super tender because we put the shrimp in towards the end. One of the tricks of this dish is the timing of when you put the seafood in, and the chicken for that matter. The only thing that stays in from the beginning to the end is the chorizo. So this is an example of how to layer your paella so that you get the timing right, and at the end everything is succulent and juicy the way it should be. So there you have our wonderful paella mixta. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share. And please leave a comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you about future ideas for dishes, or to simply comment and let us know how you like the dish or the show. Buen provecho. Let's have a toast.